I remember the moment. I mean, I was like 9 years old, and I was fortunate enough to go to Europe, and I went into St. Peter's Basilica, and I saw the Pietà. And when I saw it, I was stunned. I mean, if you can imagine a 9-year-old stand there with tears coming out of his eyes looking at it. It was like all of a sudden, I found out that art was using a medium to make you feel a particular way, you know, whether it was Michelangelo and marble, or a great chef that knew how to make chicken piccata and make you feel like it's a summer day right in the middle of the winter, you know. That was what it meant to be an artist to me.
I very distinctly remember that first photography class that I took in high school. It was a black and white darkroom photography class, and you know, you go out, and I bought this used camera, and I loaded in my black and white film, and I spent, you know, a couple hours shooting pictures of nothing, really. I got in the darkroom, and you work under the hum of that red light, and you're mixing chemicals, and you don't see anything. And that first moment that you pull the film off the reel and you saw all the photos show up, I was hooked. It was at that moment that all the chemistry and all the technique and holding the camera, it all came to life. And so ever since that moment, I've always either surrounded myself with other creatives or have been a part of some sort of creative process in one way or another.
When I was growing up, I knew I loved music. That was one of the few things I knew for sure. I learned as much as I could teach myself, and I ultimately went to a recording school, but it was that period of being in high school where I really wanted to develop a skill, and I didn't know where to go.
I used to just play by myself in the garage, and my dad kind of helped foster my musical experience. I was asked to be in a group in my early 20s, and I would actually say that that was kind of the moment where I had realized that that's what I wanted to do. I wish that I would have had the resources when I was younger to develop more quickly.
If something like NOCA existed back then, I would have been able to develop faster. I probably would have made some different decisions, and I would have more relationships.
Something I learned maybe too late into my career was how much you can learn from someone else, and having that mentor.
In my career, I had the opportunity to teach for 5 years, and I will say that I learned more in the 5 years of teaching than what I did ever being in a classroom. And so it really excited me to think that there were other people like me that shared that same passion to kind of pass the craft and help foster the ability for other folks to learn outside of the traditional classroom environment.
All right, welcome to the future home of NOCA. It's a total disaster right now, but let's walk through it and imagine what could be here. This space here, this kind of open space, will have a spot where you can get your ticket or sign up for an upcoming class. But we're also hoping to put some retail in here, whether that's guitar strings or vinyl records, brushes and canvases, etc.
I'm excited for the organization and what it brings different than other organizations into the community with the art piece of it, the creativity piece of it. I don't think we have enough of that for our youth in the community to be able to really thrive and develop.
There's connectivity to the space next door, and even though it looks like two storefronts from the outside, they do connect here. This is going to be pretty much a wide open space. This will be a classroom.
While you can tell that everything is absolutely ready to go and we're ready to fire up classes tomorrow, it is a blank canvas. We're putting that same creativity into the building that we are into the programming. It's exciting to know what's coming and what's going to be in this space.
We'll have some computer stations where we'll be able to load softwares like Adobe, Pro Tools, Logic, different creative production resources that we can teach on, for one, but also folks can come in and get access to those softwares, whether they're just testing them out or actually working on different projects.
I think that this is just another way that people of all ages, youth up through college and adult, to be able to really get creative in their mindset and think differently than maybe they would on a regular basis.
They're going to be able to come here and learn that creativity is something that you can learn. The other thing too is being able to work together on a creative team. NOCA's a great group, I think, to be able to show that kind of thing.
We've got space back here for 4 different music lesson studios. So these are going to be spots where teachers are teaching, but they'll also be a nice quiet space to be able to practice. Sometimes you need that space to be able to really focus.
The mission of NOCA, beyond anything else, is to open up an easier channel of access to creative arts, plain and simple.
I was really fortunate to have parents who cared about taking me to lessons, and also parents who had the resources to be able to do that. Ultimately, I ended up taking lessons from Tom Carroll. Tom taught me a lot about playing guitar, but he also taught me a lot about being a professional musician. He knew me enough to say, you're not going to go be a teacher in music. Don't go be a conservatory musician. And that's a path that I probably would have taken if it wasn't for his advice.
I learned from a local musician named James Casto. He's a local drummer, and working with him and just talking with him in general taught me so many things that I don't think I would have ever known to exist. And being able to learn from him and just talk to him and learn about his experiences, it changed my life.
We're excited to launch the Tom Carroll Scholarship Fund this year. The intention is to make sure that no kid in this area without the resources would be denied a mentorship from a music teacher.
I do think about my kids and their friends and the ability for them to just have adventure, even if they don't go the creative path, but they can be exposed to it and know how to think outside the box and go a path that does make sense for them.
I'm excited for NOCA to be able to answer questions, especially for kids who are excited about a career path in the arts, and for those kids who may not have a direct connection with the industry or with a mentor, for NOCA really to be able to be that connect point for them.
We've had a lot of young musicians come, and some of them have never been on stage before, definitely in an environment where they're playing in front of a few hundred people. When you really get down to trying to learn your instrument or your craft, NOCA has the ability to offer these lessons to young musicians around the area, maybe people that they've worked with on stage, in the reissue series, or somebody that they haven't had a chance to meet yet.
We are bringing in all the professionals within the industry and giving them a voice to give back to those that are eager to learn.
Getting people to find out what they do well and focusing on that would be a real accomplishment.
I really hope it can help those who maybe aren't as fortunate or aren't as exposed to the possibilities that are out there for them, and show them different ways that they can learn and develop.
This is a long-term endeavor. The great thing about NOCA is that there are wonderful people that are involved that understand that, and also understand the fact that there are different milestones in that process.
What NOCA embodies, I think, is bringing together this network, this community of creatives that will hopefully foster that same inspiration.
It takes dedication, and the people that are involved in NOCA truly understand that, and they are there to foster young musicians and young artists.
We're bringing the professionals that are working in the field directly to the people that are hungry for that information, and I think that's what's unique.
Overall, I'm just super excited that we get to build out this space and grow and be in a main area of the community for people to see what we're trying to create and just really do something good.